You're not your job, you're not your resume, and just because you're unemployed doesn't mean you're losing at life. In fact, this could be the beginning of your greatest rise. Let's talk about how. Pause, because when the world stops giving you titles, that's when you discover who you really are. There are moments in life when everything familiar seems to collapse, when the job is gone, the schedule is empty, and the phone stops ringing. In those moments, a terrifying question often creeps in. If I have nothing to offer the world right now, do I still matter? It's easy to feel that our value is tied to our productivity, our usefulness, our place in the system, but that belief is a dangerous illusion, because the truth is suffering, no matter how deep, no matter how disorienting, does not take away the meaning of your life. When you're unemployed, it can feel like you've been erased. You're no longer someone with a title, a business card, or a clearly defined role. But that emptiness, as painful as it is, holds a quiet invitation to discover meaning that is not dependent on external labels. Your circumstances may have changed, but your capacity for meaning has not. You can still love, think, grow, reflect, create, give, endure. These things, unseen, immeasurable, are often where the deepest sense of life is born. Suffering strips away what is shallow. It confronts you with silence, and in that silence, if you dare to listen, you may hear something honest and unshakable rise within you. You are not what you do. You are who you are becoming in the process. You are the one who still chooses, still hopes, still imagines. Meaning lives in the courage to face the void and still say, I am here. It lives in the decision to get up again, even without applause, and strangely, the deeper the suffering, the more powerful the potential for meaning, not in spite of it, but through it, because when everything else is stripped away, only the essential remains. There is a kind of freedom that no one can take from you, not the loss of a job, not financial hardship, not even the collapse of everything you once leaned on. It is the freedom to choose your response. Life can control your environment, but it cannot control your inner world unless you allow it. This kind of freedom isn't loud. It's quiet, often hidden beneath noise of anxiety, fear, and disappointment, but it's there waiting. When unemployment hits, it often brings a storm of emotions: fear of the future, shame from society, pressure from family, and the constant hum of self-doubt. It can feel like being trapped, cornered by forces beyond your control. And yet, right in the middle of that storm, there is a moment, a breath, where you get to decide how to meet it. Will you break or will you bend? Will you numb out or lean in? That's where freedom lies. You may not have chosen the circumstances. You didn't ask for rejection or silence. But you still have the power to choose whether you will see this season as punishment or possibility. You can choose to blame the world, or you can choose to search within yourself for what this moment is asking of you. That choice, made again and again, is the ground on which resilience is built. It's where character is formed, not in comfort but in conflict. No one else can do this part for you. People can support you, but they can't respond for you. That is your sacred ground, your quiet rebellion. In a world that tries to shape you by your circumstances, choosing your response is how you shape yourself, and in that choice you reclaim something more powerful than certainty. You reclaim your will. When everything feels like it's been put on pause, when you're in between jobs, in between identities, and unsure of what tomorrow looks like, it's tempting to believe that this moment doesn't matter, that meaning is something reserved for bigger days, the first day at a new job, a promotion, a milestone. But meaning isn't waiting for you in some distant future. It's here, it's now, and it's often hidden in the quiet, ordinary moments that seem to carry no weight. The challenge is that these moments feel empty. No structure, no routine, no external validation. Time stretches, and in the silence, doubts grow louder. But within this stillness lies an invitation to stop running, to stop filling, and to start noticing. To notice the sun filtering through the window, to notice your breath, to notice the space between thoughts. These things may seem small, but they are not meaningless. They are life happening right now, with or without your permission. When you're not bound by a job or a title, you're offered something rare, the ability to see life as it is, not just as a means to an end. You begin to ask different questions. What makes me come alive? What do I want to give to the world, not just get from it? These questions are not luxuries, they are lifelines, and they can only be asked in the present moment, not when you're busy chasing the next thing. This moment may not be the one you would have chosen, but it is the only one you have. It may not look like much, but it is carrying you, shaping you, preparing you. And if you allow yourself to be fully in it, to stop resisting, stop postponing meaning for later, you may find that it was never missing to begin with. For most of our lives, we're taught to equate success with achievement, something visible, measurable, and usually tied to income. A paycheck becomes more than a means of survival. It becomes proof that we matter. It becomes a symbol of worth, of contribution, of place. So when that paycheck disappears, when the job title vanishes from the email signature and the structure falls away, it can feel like success itself has been stripped from us. But that belief comes from a narrow definition of success, one that serves systems, not souls. Real success is not always something you can deposit in a bank. It's not a number on a payslip or a promotion on a LinkedIn profile. It's found in how you treat others when no one's watching. It's in the effort you make to get up in the morning when you don't have to. It's in the courage to still dream when the world has told you to settle. Redefining success means moving away from applause and approval and toward a quieter kind of fulfillment, one rooted in integrity, intention, and presence. When you're unemployed, you have the chance to ask dangerous, liberating questions. What kind of life do I want to build? What makes me feel proud, regardless of whether anyone else sees it? Who do I want to become in this space between roles? These are questions that don't lead to instant answers, but they lead to something more lasting than external success ever could. Because a paycheck may reflect your role in an economy, but it can never define your role in humanity. You can be successful in kindness. You can be successful in showing up for yourself. You can be successful in staying open, curious, and honest, even when life isn't going your way. There are seasons when your world feels drained, when every part of you feels tired, uncertain, and hollow. Unemployment can bring that emptiness to the surface in ways that are hard to explain. You feel invisible, disconnected, maybe even ashamed. It's easy to believe you have nothing to offer, that until you're back on your feet, you should retreat, stay quiet, focus only on survival. But there's a strange paradox hidden inside that darkness. Sometimes the very thing that begins to refill your emptiness is giving to someone else. Serving others doesn't always mean grand gestures. It can be small, almost invisible acts of humanity, a message of encouragement. Listening without interrupting, helping someone carry their own weight when yours feels unbearable. These moments create connection, and in that connection, something begins to shift. You realize that even without a job, without a title, you are still a source of light. You are still needed. Your presence still matters. Helping someone else doesn't erase your problems. It doesn't solve your future, but it reminds you that your life still has power, even in pieces. And sometimes when you're focused on someone else's burden, your own becomes lighter. Not because it vanishes, but because it stops being the only thing you carry. It may feel like you have nothing left, but the truth is, there's always something inside you worth giving. A word, a gesture, a moment of patience. And when you give from that space, not because you're overflowing, but because you choose to. It awakens something deeply human. It reconnects you to your dignity, not the dignity of achievement, but the dignity of compassion, the kind that doesn't wait until life is perfect to show up for someone else, because it knows that showing up is how healing begins. When you're walking through unemployment, it can feel like a full stop, a moment where life has pressed pause on everything that once gave you purpose, direction, or rhythm. Days blend together, and nights stretch long with questions that seem to have no answers. There's a weight to this kind of stillness, as if life has somehow moved on without you. And in that silence, it's easy to believe that this is the end of the road, that the best of your story has already been told. But what if this isn't the end at all? What if it's simply one chapter? Every meaningful life is made of chapters. Some are bright and full of celebration, others are quiet, slow, uncertain, but they all belong. You may not have chosen this particular chapter. It might be messy, uncomfortable, even painful to look at, but chapters like these are not empty, they're formative. They are where you wrestle with yourself, face your fears, and begin to ask deeper questions than the ones success ever forced you to ask. In the rush of achievement, you might have skipped over parts of yourself that now, in this stillness, you finally get to meet. In the absence of constant doing, you are learning how to be. And in the discomfort of not knowing, you are building a different kind of strength, the kind that doesn't depend on certainty to move forward. This chapter may not come with applause. It may not be one you'd read aloud with pride, but it matters, because it's shaping how you will step into whatever comes next. It's teaching you to listen, to let go, to endure, to trust that just because the path isn't visible yet, doesn't mean there's no path at all. The story is still being written. You may not have the job right now. You may not have the answers, but you still have your mind, your heart, your will, and that means you still have power. Unemployment is not a verdict. It's not a label stamped on your worth. It is a moment, a chapter, that asks you to look deeper, live slower, and discover who you are when the titles fall away. You are not falling behind. You are being invited to rebuild, from the inside out, not just a career, but a life with meaning that doesn't depend on a paycheck. A life where strength is born in silence, where purpose is found not after the storm, but inside it. You can still rise, you can still win, not because everything is certain, but because you've chosen not to give up, and in that choice, no matter what the world says, you've already started to win.